the mic here? Did it fall off? Where did it go? Oh, my mic is down here. Oh, this is Katie for you, coming live.
Do you know what time it is? Welcome to Legacy of Nerd. My name is Daniel, and today I have the pleasure and great honor to be sitting here with Deborah Estelle Philips, who you may know as Katie Walker from Power Rangers Time Force. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How are you enjoying Retromania so far?
I love Retromania. I'm so glad to have been invited. It's always an honor. And as you probably know, I don't do a lot of these, but this has been so much fun, so amazing. Met so many incredible people. So thank yourself.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for talking to us fans all day. I appreciate you.
Of course.
So how does it feel being a part of a franchise that has powered 30 years through and being so important part of it?
I know Tracy had said this earlier, but it's surreal. Like, that really truly is it, because being on the show back then, we didn't know the phenomenon of it. We didn't have the luxury of the social medias and all of that stuff to see what our numbers were, or how many people are following us. Like, none of that. So the validation was not there. It was a job. I was truly honored and intimidated because I knew of Power Rangers. It wasn't like, what is that? It was, oh, that's a phenomenon, and you want me to fill shoes? Like, no. Like, it was a little bit like, oh, like, really, it was, I didn't feel worthy to touch that, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I mean, everyone knows who Power Rangers are, and I have mad respect for everyone that came before me. Mighty Morphin, who doesn't love them? They paved the way for all of us. The gratitude is real. I love them. I love these opportunities to get to not only meet the fandom, but to meet different Rangers that came before me, and just really, we all have a lot in common. It's kind of like, wow, the casting process. Like, do you guys just have a certain thing you look for? Because there's a quality that's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been wonderful, and it's surreal. That's really all I can say. It's like, how is this? How am I a part of this? What's going on?
And you talk about the casting process.
Yes.
What was it like getting the role of Katie?
Oh, it was honestly it was a highlight for me. It really was, because I was a young actor, brand new in business. I started off doing background extra work, then moved to one-liners here and there. Getting the actual role, like I said, the anticipation of, if I ever had that opportunity, that was here, but I just couldn't imagine that actually happening.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that would be nice, but no. And I remember, the process was long. It was probably like a 5-month process.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I didn't know it was for a Ranger. I thought it was a co-star, one-liner, this and that. I didn't know it was actually, wow, like, I'm going to replace a Ranger. There's no way. Really? What? Okay. So once I learned that was like at the last audition, and I was like, oh my gosh. Then I was like, that's when it started becoming overwhelming. And they didn't tell us right away. It was the last audition was very long, where they actually started the elimination process. A room full of people, called names, let people go. We had to go back and audition a cold read, which is lines you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And they eliminated more people. Some stayed, and it got to only 10 people left. So we're thinking they're going to tell us right now. Like,
very American Idol.
That's what I tell everybody. I said it was my American Idol moment. Like, really, it was like that. And they would, when it was down to 10, they would bring in, okay, there are 5. They would say, okay, you. And then everybody kept going in and out except for me. They only had me go in once. And I thought they didn't like me. And it was probably because they asked if I had martial arts ability. And I was like, Billy Blanks, I like to tie a bow, and I love WWE at the time, right? And like, I'm a wrestling fan, and they're looking at me like, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. And they never called me back in that day, and they called everybody else in like twice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cried all the way home. I did. And I was up against, not up against, but I had another show that I was up for. It was an MTV show called Undressed. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yep, I remember Undressed.
I was one of those people that were like, I would self-sabotage all the time. Like, if there was a show that I wasn't really totally comfortable with, I would be like, it was one of those things where I kept getting callbacks, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I want to do this. No
Yeah.
offense, no, but it just wasn't. You got Power Rangers and undress. You do the math. Like, so when my agent called me 2 weeks later, I got great news. I'm like, oh my gosh, which one is it? What is it? She says they want you for the yellow Power Ranger. I screamed so hard. I dropped the phone. I was like, ah. I felt like I won American Idol. Like I did. I felt like a winner. And
you have to be on undressed.
I know. I didn't have to take my clothes off. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. But it was one of those things where I was so excited, and I was that was really a highlight, I think, for me, because it was like my dream was coming true of having that. I wanted to change how the industry worked, being a lead in a show, and I was looking forward to the whole experience and remembering where I came from and not ever allowing any of that to change. And it really, I was consistent. I mean, we would work with the extras all the time. And I mean, Kevin and I, remember we'd go in their trailer, and we would sit when it was a rainy, cold day at like a night shoot where we had to stay overnight. We'd go and have hot chocolate with them and just hang out. I was an extra. I get it. Like, what? We're the same. You're an actor. You're an artist. It is what it is. So yeah, it was good times. I remember that. But
and we heard rumors, because we were talking about earlier how Time Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, was male.
Yes.
We've heard rumors that they were considering you for green.
Oh my God, I think I started that rumor. I hope it's true. Because I actually read that recently. And I was like, they're like, according to Deborah Estelle Philips. I was like, oh my gosh, is that true? I feel like calling headquarters. Was that right? Did I hear that correctly? Because I forgot who I heard that from. But it was somebody there. I remember, and I didn't dream it. I have an imagination, I do. But I'm almost positive, because there was one female on Time Ranger, and they could have gone either way. And I literally, think about that. I mean, well, and here's another interesting thing. Well, I'm sure we know representation matters. But in Power Rangers in particular, I don't know if they still do this now, but there was always there was one black actor per season. Mm-hmm. And if there was a black female, there was not going to be a black male, right? Yeah. And as we know, after Nakia, I believe, there wasn't, and I was the next black female. Yes. So there was a black male. So it's either a male or female. So that's just how it was. I don't know how it is today, but that's how it was.
Well, the last season there was 2 black males.
We're changing lives. Yes. Okay. Anyways, we're in the future. No kidding. Okay, so. No pun intended. I can keep going. This is a mess. This is why I don't do this often, because I won't shut up. This is sad. Oh, the things that go on. Okay. So with that said, they could have gone any direction. If they had casted a black male actor, then they probably would have casted. Like, who knows? Height wise, maybe they saw my height. They saw Kevin, I love you, but and it was kind of like.
Kind of fill the slots.
You know what I mean? Like, what could we have done? Because they have gone with a green female and just kept it with who knows what they were thinking or what they were. But it happened this way, and I'm glad it did. You know, I'm really excited about that. But so that was, I did hear that. I know I didn't dream it. So I hope I'm not wrong. Anybody out there that knows the truth?
So possibly. Please, the answer is possible. It's
possible. Maybe.
So we were talking earlier. We were talking about how a lot of Rangers, their characters emulate who they are in real life, the actors themselves. Yes. How do you feel Katie and you resemble each other?
A heart of gold. It's really, like, I put everyone before myself, to the point where I have to remind myself to take care of myself. I had to do the airplane rule, where it's like, you need to put the oxygen on yourself. I tell myself that all the time, because I will put others first, and Katie did that. So I don't know if that's what they saw, or if it just ironically happened that way, but it was not a mistake. Katie had a heart of gold, and she was super strong. So I don't know where they got that from. Again, I think it was just because they were like,
and I'm still trying to think. I think Time Force was the first season where the characters had powers.
Somebody told me this yesterday, where they're like, I don't want to make rumors against it. I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but am I the only Ranger that had powers with supernatural?
There was 1, 2. I guess Andros had mine, but it wasn't a full team that had powers. So you guys, it wasn't it was maybe one person here had something, and that's
so that's kind of normal to have that one person on a season.
But Trip had
he did. He had that whole psychic ability, which I thought was really cool. But I loved having superhuman strength because when I grew up, there was a show, which I should have thought of earlier at this panel. Because when you're at panels, you get asked questions. I'm like, I can't think of a TV show when I was growing up. Anyways, there was a show called Small Wonder. I used to love the show. You probably weren't alive back then. But it was a robot girl. She had superhuman strength and she used to talk like a robot. And she would do these crazy things. I was little, but back then they didn't have special effects like that. So I thought it was really cool when she would pick up things. When I picked up the couch where somebody was sitting on, was it Wes or somebody? I can't remember. I picked somebody up doing my house chores. No, I'm kidding. And just cleaning up the clock tower, picking up couches, But it reminded me of Small Wonder, and I loved that show, so it was cool to I get to have superhuman. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
Throwing that dude out of the car. He was awesome, though. That was one of our stunt guys. He was great.
He threw stunt guy out the door.
I did. Isn't that awesome? You teach me the moves, and then I just throw you out of cars. I love it. That was a fun scene because they edited it, actually, because I couldn't get my lines right. I couldn't pronounce certain words. I had problems. Okay, so so there was a whole scene or a bunch of lines they cut. Like I was supposed to be flirty and just be like, dee, 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 dee. So da 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 da, and he's looking at me like, and then he says what he says. Then I do it, but they cut that. They're like, no, just psycho. Psycho. And it worked. Psycho yellow. Ha.
Well, thinking of memories back then, when you look back, is there any episodes that you stand out to you? Remember, that was fun working on, or
so much.
I enjoyed that episode when I watched it.
So much fun throughout all of it. Always those beginning days when you're, just getting to even just not scene related or actual episode related, but just meeting the cast, those memories are just tattooed to my brain.
Yeah.
Like how I got it, that phone call, getting the itinerary and being like, you have a fitting in this. This is when I met the cast. And oh my gosh, I remember them at the audition and that first episode of it was a night shoot and we pulled an all-nighter and we had I used to always put a double hot chocolate in my thing, and Kevin and I were just like, and then we would have it was just fun. It was just we're just kids having fun, and we're on this show. It's like, what's happening right now? The explosions. I love second unit, and anytime we had pyro, it was like, yes, blowing things up and feeling so tough as a cop.
Yeah.
What? We were grown-up rangers. We had jobs. We were police officers.
You were trained for it.
Yeah. We had a powerful leader, and really, there was so many great moments. Oh my gosh, I honestly, just working with the cast as a whole was always my favorite thing, because we would have our individual episodes.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like having us all together. It felt different when it was okay, Katie, you have this little prom thing that you're doing, this little singing and dancing. I'm like, why do I have to dance and sing? Because you can't fight. Okay, all right, but I can't sing either. No, you're gonna do it. Oh gosh, I discovered a lot about myself.
There you go.
But I would just say it was more of the moments of being with these incredible people and growing together and learning together, and so many memories, so many.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So Hasbro calls you, and they go, Deborah,
yes,
we want you to write a Katie story in 3024.
Ooh, the year?
Because it's been 24 years.
Ooh, I like that.
So, where would you think Katie is, or what do you think the story would be like?
Well, hopefully they invented some type of fountain of youth. Because, naturally it'd be okay, Katie's a grandma, or she's a mom, or
a general.
Or a general. Look at you writing it. I like that. Yeah, you got some stories. Let's go. I don't know. She definitely, I feel loves the kids. So I don't know if she has kids that she's raising up as Time Force officers, or general. I like that idea. Yeah, with her superhuman strength, I wonder what she would do with that at this point. Did she learn how to fight yet? That's a good question. Just the leader aspect. She's a leader of some kind.
Yeah.
With her heart, whether she's dealing with children or just people that are in need, she's there to help. So I would say I like the general side of it. Are they gonna call? Do you know something I don't know?
I don't know anything.
I'm here.
People don't tell me things.
This Comic-Cons are always so fun because I always see things that I've never even knew existed. I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm more excited than the people coming to see me. I'm like, what?
I want to thank you for talking, coming out. Absolutely. You haven't actually, you made things for people to pass out. Do you want to show them?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so I don't do this often, obviously.
This is a rare
This is
appearance.
very
Yes.
rare, but when I come out, I'm very intentional. Like I want to connect. I want to, because obviously anybody who does follow me, I apologize because I'm trying to get better with like, I'm from Generation X. Like I might be from the future, but I'm like old school. So like I like the, telephone, email, text. Like I'm not an Instagrammy, like all that. So I'm it's not, if I don't follow or like stuff, it's not personal. It's just it's my mental health is important. Okay. So on that note, um, mental health is important, and people don't talk about it enough. And I wanted to be very intentional that when I do get out, when I go out there and I do meet people who are taking the time to meet me, it blows my mind. First of all, I still can't even fathom that concept. It's just like, wow, really? From whatever it takes to even make that trip to come see me, I don't want people to leave empty-handed. And they say that their experience is like, oh my gosh, but I want to give a thank you. So I put together a little bracelet. It has a Katie Bear hug on it. So I wrapped it, and I wrote a little thank you thing in here because it's just, I appreciate the time that people take. A little thank you, and just like a Katie loves you in there. And inside you have a little bracelet, and it has Katie Bear hug on there, and on the back is a heart with a hug. So if you wear it like this, well, my wrist is kind of small. I should make smaller sizes. I should think about the kiddos. I'm like, eep. But so it has Katie Bear hug, and on the other side there's a heart with a hug, and it's on the wrist to remind people to take care of themselves. And on the inside of the bracelet, now this was not intentional. The idea was to be able to visibly see it, but then I'm like, there's no mistakes here because it's a very private issue. So I don't want to put anybody's mental health on blast, but if there's an issue where I'm having a moment and I need to talk to somebody, but I don't want to talk to somebody that knows me because it's a private issue. People, again, we need to talk more about this, but some people aren't ready to do that. There's a number to text home, and somebody will get back anonymously that is specialized in talking people to de-escalate whatever they're going through.
Oh.
And what a difference it makes to just take a breath, take a moment to just, because sometimes you feel like your world is crashing down. I personally, just to be transparent, have just dealt and battled with depression and anxiety most of my life. Even working on Power Rangers, that's a whole nother episode. I mean, honestly, or another talk, but just, being an actor, me personally, I like to hide behind the characters. You don't want to, it's an opportunity to be able to escape sometimes from things. I get it. I understand it. As somebody who battles, I get the importance of what a difference a moment can make. You can go from 0 to 100, and 5 seconds of talking to somebody and hearing your issue, or maybe just hearing it out loud or processing it, compartmentally, whatever it takes, what a difference it makes. And I just want to remind people that that's here for you, and I'm here for you, and Katie really does love you. Some people don't feel loved. It could be something like that, like nobody loves me, and I do. Katie loved everyone, and this is a reminder. Love is there. If you don't feel loved, well, Katie loves you. So here, just be a reminder, be strong like Katie, like mentally, emotionally, physically, which is another, I guess, how I'm like my character. I might not be physically strong, but the heart, the strength, the mental strength, we got to take care of our mental health. People don't talk about it enough. And some people make irreversible decisions, and it's very important. And I don't get out a lot. So this is kind of like a little, exclusive type, whatever thing where I just like, hey, I just want to put this in your hand.
Everyone that comes to our table is
and I'm so grateful. Like, you're taking the time to here, thank you, and here's a reminder: take care of yourself.
Well, we're grateful for you, and thank you, and thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
coming here.
Of course,
my pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And they can find you on Instagram at
Deborah Estelle Philips. And Facebook, I think it's still under Deborah Estelle Philips fan page because somebody stole my name. This is why I don't do social media. Right there.
And on that, thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.